Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us live here on the Bottom Line. On the Bottom Line, we say business at the speed of thought. And we are coming to you live from our studios here at Rage in Accra. We are live on DSTV channel 277. We are live on our Facebook page, Metro News, and of course, Chairman Kwasi Afriyie. You can tweet at us or send us a message in the course of the discussion. If it's possible, we'll try and read them to our guests tonight as we get the answers bordering the topics that we are going to discuss. So tonight is a very hot night. Yesterday, the Minister of Energy was at the Ministry of Information briefing the press and the whole of the country about the current energy situations, or let me say, power situations in the country, what we have all referred to as DUMSOR, and the actual challenges that have bedeviled it. We remember that the current government came into power talking about the fact that the challenge is a financial issue and not a technical issue. And so most of the people in the country were not expecting to see power outages anymore once they said they have been able to fix the problem. However, we are experiencing it, and the minister has given us a lineup of activities and issues and reasons why we are experiencing power outages and whether we have experienced this problem across the length and breadth of the country or it is for certain particular areas. Tonight, we delve into all of these issues. There are other energy issues that have come up, the debts in the energy sector, the fuel price increments, and all of those issues. We'll be getting into it. And so we have the Executive Director of COPEC who will be joining us here in the studio. We have a member of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, who is also a member of Parliament, a very strong one at that. Would have him here also in the studio. And then we would have the Executive Director of the Institute of Energy Security also join us via Zoom tonight. So it's a very packed night. You want to stick and stay with us. When we come back from the stories which are making round in the world of business, we'll be getting straight into our discussions for tonight. Stick and stay with us.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana says the central bank is pursuing aggressive tax reforms and pro-growth initiatives which are solely targeted at the agricultural and industrial sectors. He said the fintech initiatives will help boost confidence and improve the ease of doing business in the country.
Broadly, we need prudent fiscal policies in place to be able to anchor the recovery. And thankfully, the 2021 budget has already reset fiscal policy on a consolidation path with a deficit projected to decline to 9.5% of GDP and unwind over the medium term to under 5% by 2024.
The 20% upward adjustment in transport fares is yet to take effect. At some transport terminals in the Greater Accra region, the Commuter Drivers Association, together with some private unions over the weekend, attributed the need for this increment to recent hikes in fuel prices, which would help subvert their cost of operations.
Tuesday, increment be back for new fares. At the same time, now, as I say, petrol knows have a cost to be. So the question is, which is which?
Chief Executive Officer of Santol Energy, Michael Isifu Wipeba, has called on government to review recent increase in petroleum prices. He said this will go a long way to ease the burden of consumers.
Due to the increase in petroleum price across the world. And with the taxes, we can't say much. Once we are in business, we need to pay tax, and we think from our perspective it should be looked at again, and in order to also ease the pressure on these companies and individuals. But I think that debate would surely come.
Will the new one be passed on to consumers?
Sure, because the BDCs, once they are trading out there in the international markets, they will be hit by surcharges and they will surely pass it on.
Well, so we'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue from there and get straight into the details of the discussions tonight. Right, so you're welcome back from the break. I've told you earlier on that we are going to have a look at the minister's press briefing yesterday. Obviously, not that alone, but all of the issues in the power and energy sector. But let's have a bite of the minister speaking to the press yesterday.
The second thing that we did was to look at all the PPAs that have been signed on take-or-pay basis. And some had already been deployed, car power ships, Senate, AMOAH, some had been deployed. But the government decided that we had enough generating sets. And so there was no need to deploy more generating sets at that time. So we deferred 3 notable generating sets. We deferred Rotan Energy. We deferred 3 different types. And it saved Ghana, those 3 generating sets that we deferred, saved Ghana as much as $1.24 billion. Meaning, if those 4 or 3 generators had deployed at the time, brought it to commercial being in 2019, we would have seen an increase, or Ghana would have paid up because it was take and pay. Ghana would have paid up as much as $1.426 billion. We deferred early power from deploying in 2019. We deferred Jacobson power from deploying in 2019. And we deferred Rotan from deploying in 2019. Each of the 3, would have cost us $475.5 million if they are deployed. So just by deferring deployment, we saved an excess or nearly $1.5 billion. That is about money good enough to have built 62 stadia of the type of Tamale Sports Stadium. So Tamale Sports Stadium cost about $23 billion. And the savings by deferment, not cancellation, saved the country a payment of $1.425 billion. So some of those initial decisions started paying off, and it has paid off to now. The power outages that Ghanaians have suffered, though not pleasant, is in good faith in the sense that you do SCC, you do near YD. The problem is being fixed, and with patience and support, this government will truly deliver the works. Like I said, the Kwasi bulk supply point would come on, the Kasua, the Kumasi 330, Kumasi Kintampo, the Achimota Malam ongoing. Probably by the end of the year, people will see a dramatically improved power system reliability in the country. These problems are not, and I repeat, are not due to financial challenges, because they are being fixed. They are being fixed, and there's a need. We plead with the people of Ghana to be supportive and expectant of their government and His Excellency the President to deliver on their behalf. That is not to say, even if we finish these big interventions, that is the end of the deal. We, last week and 3 weeks ago, last 2 weeks and about 3 weeks ago, together with the ECG MD and the Greco MD, who were in Ministry of Finance, to ensure that the critical interventions yet more needed to be done to make the system even more better will get fully funded. Greco came up with 3 critical problems, all to do, I must say, with either improving bulk supply points or stringing 330 kilowatt kV lines. Their first item that they proved to be very, very critical was to increase their capital expenditure, or find money to the tune of about $326 million to improve certain further lines on the Western Corridor. Critical or priority 2 was construction of more bulk supply points in Takoradi, Kumasi, to ensure that the system is more reliable. That has been fully factored by the Siemens loan that Parliament has approved this year. So that work would start. All I want to indicate is that we would continue to find money, find the resources to fix the critical infrastructure projects, both within GridCo and ECG, to enable us to have better power transmission and distribution system.
You welcome back. So that was the Minister of Energy, Honorable Matthew Opoku Prempeh, briefing the press and the whole of the country yesterday. And of course, he says it is not a financial problem, same they said before. I currently have in the studio an Honorable Member of Parliament who is also a ranking member of, a member of the Energy and Mines Committee of Parliament, Honorable Edward BAWA. Thank you very much for joining us, and a very good evening to you.
Very good evening to you too.
I hope you're doing very well.
I think because of our distance, I can remove my...
Oh, yes, you're allowed.
So that,
yes.
Because I saw that Duncan has removed his... So
we have intentionally positioned the studio in a way you can have a very good social distancing.
Yes, that's fine. You go to heaven.
And then Duncan AMOAH is the Executive Director of COPEC, and he's a very own man. Thank you very much for joining us, Duncan.
Kwasi, thanks for having me. And like I always say, you have one of the best studios across the country.
Thank you.
If not the very best.
In fact, we are the best.
It won't be surprising at all. And it's good to be back here.
So let me also introduce to you that we'll have on Zoom the Executive Director of IES, Nana AMOASI, join us in the course of the discussion. But let me come to you, Honorable. Okay, so we have Nana AMOASI there, live on Zoom. He has joined us actually in the discussions tonight, but we'll start from the studio and get to Nana AMOASI. And you heard the minister yesterday, so we'll start with issues on power and then eventually come to issues of energy. But you heard the minister yesterday, they have better managed the power situation in the country.
Thank you very much, and then good evening to your viewers. Let me also just add to what Duncan said, that you have a very good studio here. I only know the Good Morning Ghana one, but I didn't know that downstairs here you also have a very big one here. That's a very fantastic place.
Right. Thank you very much.
Now to your statement. And I believe you were quoting the minister.
The minister, yes, exactly.
For energy. Indeed, when you have a situation where a minister makes statements like this, sometimes the early stages of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh in office, I tried as much as possible not to comment on things he says, because I knew he was new to the terrain. His background is not energy. He had not worked in that sector. I don't recall he being a member of the Mines and Energy Committee during his years in Parliament. And so it was going to take some time to be able to come to grips with what they call it, the issues in the energy sector.
Exactly.
But to have a well-prepared document that was read, it meant that somebody had to sit down and prepare it. And so everything that was said there was intentional. It was meant to be said. I don't for a moment agree with the thesis when you say that they are better managers of their claim.
No, he said.
That they are better managers. My brother, I always want to draw people's attention to a few things, and I'm just going to, about 2 minutes. Our power sector, post-2007, that's Okufosan. You remember that in 2006, 2007, we had serious power crisis. And I know in your intro, you were even talking about the fact that when the power crisis came in Mohammed's, they said it was financial. During those periods, one thing that was very clear, and it was established, that our generation capacity had gone down. Our demand had outstripped our supply. You recall that was the period when even Lawrence Tete and his group went to Akosombo to pray. The reason was because Akosombo is the largest plant we have.
Right.
And because of the lower levels of water, we could not produce much, and therefore the deficit was high. Between 2006 and 2007, the then MPP government, under the leadership of President Kufuor, I admire President Kufuor for a lot of things. But I'm just talking on the energy sector.
Yes.
Go back and review all the budget statements from the Ministry of Finance under Akufo. Not a single dollar was voted out to add 1 megawatt to our plants.
In 2007?
Yes.
Or
Yes. You know the crisis was 226 in 2007. In 2008, the crisis went down. And the crisis went down for 2 reasons. First, the rains became better. And therefore, Akusumbo went up and they could generate more. 2, you had a consortium of miners who came and put up a particular plant known as the Mines Reserve Plant, which was an 18 megawatt plant that they put in, in Tema. So these were the 2 things. So in the 2008 elections, and I just want to give people just this background, in the 2008 election at the Energy Institute at KNUST, it was clearly identified that there were 3 major things that were affecting the power subsector. 1 had to do with insufficient generation, 2 had to do with fuel security, and the last but not the least had to also do with financial challenge because at the various utilities, they could not manage their finances well. So in 2009, as part of the NDC strategy, and that's why the NDC came as part of their policy in 2010, March 2010, if you go and look at that policy document, they indicated that they were going to increase power generation from 850 to 5,000. So that was how the 5,000 megawatt target was made.
But BUI Power has started by then. BUI Power Authority had been established. And this was under former President Kufuor.
Let me tell you what the BUI Power did.
Right.
The BUI Power, there was an agreement. It's just like, for example, today, as I speak to you, let me give you a typical example.
They had made preparations for it.
No, let me just come. That's why I say voted 1 megawatt storage. That's the point I'm making. For example, let's take the Palugu multi. Akufo-Addo went in 2020 November and cut the sword. As we speak today, not a 1 pickaxe has been put on the ground. So on the basis of that, will you say, assuming that Akufo-Addo had lost the elections, would you have said that Akufo-Addo brought that thing? Are you getting the point?
Politicians.
Yeah, you get the point.
Yes,
so it's the same thing. But of course, we still get it. But I'm just talking about bringing it on stream. That between that time and this, and there was no 1 megawatt that was brought on stream. That means we didn't add anything. You understand the point?
I understand the point of me.
But the point I'm just trying to make is that. So that's how the NDC decided to do that rapid improvement to increase the power generation to the 5,000 that we talk about now. Indeed, I just read on Asasi Radio that Kweku Awotwe, who was then the CEO under the NDC or VRA and became the board chairman under the MPP, indicated that if you look at the challenge under Mahama, it was generational. But the MPP consistently said it was financial. In fact, I'm just talking to you about the fact that he said, it's quoted on my job online, that he said it was a generational issue. So we solved that. Then there was an issue of finance, my brother. We realized that over a period of time, we had a legacy debt. Duncan will tell you about legacy debt in the petroleum, particularly the downstream sector. He will tell you about that. And what is this legacy debt? People always have it at the back of their mind that legacy debt is Mohammed's debt. Legacy debt is over a period of time, over the government.
No, that one we know.
Yes.
I mean, for the purposes of politics, you have been able to, you and your political opponents have been able to politicize the situation.
Yeah, but it is important
to make it look as if it belongs to you.
Important because this has to do with, I've seen your thing, business at the speed of thought.
Yes.
I've seen your program. People must begin to know where this debt was. So this debt was an accumulation of debt over the period of time. Right. Most of them were other subsidies that were not paid, losses and what have you. We decided to ring fence it. Government of Ghana, through the good people of Ghana, said that, look, let's devote some amount of money on our petroleum price buildup, known as the energy sector levies. So, yes, that was how the act came. And it was for 5 years. And these 5 years, we were supposed to use this, these accruals, to retire the debt of the $2.4 billion that we had in the energy sector.
And
in terms of net arrears. In terms of net arrears. That's what we were supposed to use it for. That was what the MPP said that it was obnoxious, Mahama was not kind. All the very unprintable words were used. The MPP comes into government, and they extend the tenure from 5 years, which was supposed to be used in retiring that, to 10 years, and that's how they raised the energy bond. Now, my brother, I'm just trying to say, when they say they are managers, just in the last 4 years, the MPP government has raised 12 billion Ghana cedis of ESLA money. So you tell me, if they say they are better managers of, and you know one thing about the law of ESLA is that every year they bring the accounts to Parliament. So you can't hide it. And we're saying that for the past 4 years, we have had a situation where they've raised about 4 billion. But look at the effect of it. ECG, as at 2016, when they were posting a profit of over 500 million, in the last 4 years, they have had an accumulated losses of 4 billion.
We'll come to the problem.
So I'm just saying, so I'm just giving you generally. So when you see somebody after you are bequeathed with an instrument that was going to raise not only the instrument, not the Energy Sector Levy Act that was going to give you the money, but with an additional 230 million Ghana cedis in the account of ESLA, and then you yourself, based on the payments, you have been able to receive about 12 billion, and we still now have a net arrears of about 2.7 billion as debt, and you tell me that you are a better manager of the power sector. That's just all that I wanted to tell you.
I'll come back to you, and of course, the savings they have made in the IPPs and all. But
okay, yeah, we'll go there.
Duncan, you are in the sector. You have been in the sector for quite a long time. I've been hosting you on all of these issues. Minister says they are better managing the situation we have on the ground, and so we should not keep quiet, but support them in solving the problem. And that's, as we speak, they are solving it.
Afriyie, I wish I was not drawn into this. I wish. But once a Ghanaian, and also someone who, if I go home, if there's light,
you would be happy. If there's
at least I'll be able to have fun to sleep. If I go, there's no light. I think what most Ghanaians are asking for at this point is that whatever the challenges are, fix it. And so my senior brother and friend, Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, I would say that he has a bigger shoe to wear. What has happened in the past, how it was managed or it has been managed, Ghanaians saw it. We are all aware the difficulties the former government had with power. Like he has mentioned, we saw steps concrete taking to resolve those challenges.
We are not seeing concrete steps now?
Every year.
We are not seeing practical steps because we have seen some of your colleagues say that instead of coming to do press conferences to tell us what is happening, tackle the problem. ECG is not being able to take the monies that are owed them from the public. People are mounting illegal setups and all that. ECG is not being able to recoup the monies. And so the minister shouldn't be doing press conferences.
Every year, I had a conversation around this last night. And yes, if my colleagues say the minister shouldn't be doing press conferences, I would side with them. Because at this point, people want solutions. You don't sit and tell them that we are better. By whose score? You get it. There has to be a certain scorecard. And like I have said, whether there's power on or there's power off, right? You would still come back to the financing. And so at the recent energy forum we had, Labadi Beach, where my brother Kojopoku, Institute of Energy, and all of us went. ECG boss was there, VRE, Gridco, they were all in there. I do not have a problem with those bosses, not one bit. My problem will go back to the finance minister. And I would explain. So you have ESLA collections, right? And mind you, ESLA does not apply only to petroleum. Even on the power that you buy, you are paying for. And so if you do all these collections, and the monies don't get to ECG, the monies don't get to VRA, right? It doesn't get to the power producers to carry out the sort of maintenance works that we are seeing this year, some of which should have been done last year or 2 years ago, then there's a problem. And so at the point of detaching politics completely, the way we are managing the financing of our power sector is a big problem every year.
But the minister says it is not a financial problem, but a technical problem. He showed us videos.
There are two different things.
Maintenance works that have to go on. They have mentioned all the technical issues.
If I could finish, there are two different things.
Right.
If you say it's a financing problem, right?
Then when you land on the two, I'll go on Zoom to pick.
If you say it's a financing problem, indirectly you are saying that we need money to do something and the money is not there. That is one thing. I am saying that the finance minister, right, has probably not handled the energy sector to the best of, what we all expected. Because ESLA is giving you inflows. Mind you, Ghanaians are not taking power for free. Okay? With the exception of a few who will probably be doing illegal tappings here and there. Others are paying. And so once they are paying, and you are getting additional inflows from petroleum, right? One would have expected that whatever debts that exist within the sector, one, ring fence it. Two, ensure that you block the leakages, right? Points of losses, right? But if you ask, our managers of the finance or economy, we have not invested enough technology to bring down our transmission losses. And so as we speak, we are still doing in excess of 30% transmission losses alone. That means that we are not investing in the sector. And once you don't, it will come back to bite you another day, because Afriyie is like raising an Alsatian puppy, right? Or a lion, a baby lion. It would grow. So it is not surprising that Ghanaians are paying for the energy sector. Petroleum is not contributing a peso today because of deregulation, right? Yet the kind of debt in the power sector gets frightening by the day. Simply to say we are not managing the finances in the power sector properly. And that is why the challenges we are seeing, fixes that we needed to have fixed last year, we are fixing them this year. What happened to, whatever financial, things we should have done long ago. Then you put people in Kaswa, people in Dansuman,
people in Kwasi,
and all of that.
Now we have a load shedding time.
So the minister has a job to do. I would agree with my colleagues when they say, let's cut the press conference, right?
And fix the problem.
And fix it, because whatever it is, there are solutions. And Ghanaians are looking for those solutions.
So Nana AMOASI, the 7th, is the executive director of IES, and he's joined us via Zoom. Thank you very much for joining us, Nana. And if you can hear me, I don't know if you watched the minister yesterday, but the long and short of it is that he's performing, or the government is performing. What we are seeing currently is as a result of maintenance works and not a financial problem as some people have posited. You are the executive director of IES, and you have been following this for quite a while now. In fact, we have spoken to you quite a number of times. Let me pick your view on this before we go back into the savings the minister spoke about.
Thank you very much, Kwasi, and good evening to you, to your viewers. And I'm happy to join you remotely, and it is good for social distance as well,
right?
To ensure that we still manage the COVID. However, we still need to do what we need to do. The minister spoke, and all that he sought to do is to rehash things that have been said over the last 4 years. One thing he did very well, and I say he needs to be commended, is that this time around he was sincere that we have DUMSOR, and he did mention DUMSOR. This time around, he never spoke about excess capacity, because the excess capacity is in the books. In reality, there is nothing like excess capacity. However, we're talking about good managers of the industry. I would judge by the results,
right?
And I won't refer to any past or to come governments. Sorry to announce to you that on annual basis, year on year, we add about $1.5 billion to our energy sector debts.
Wow! And
so, if the trend continues, you are sure that by the next 4 years or before close of 2024, additional $6 billion will be added to our energy sector debt. You can only deal with this climate debt when you are being efficient and ensuring that you have plugged all the loopholes. DUNCAN and Mr. BAWA is also there. They've done a good introduction and they were right on point that if you compare our situation to other jurisdictions where both transmission and distribution losses is not in excess of 7%, and even in sub-Saharan Africa, somewhere around 18% average. But in Ghana, you add the transmission and the distribution losses, you are talking about something in excess of 34%. So it tells you that when you give ECG 1,000 megawatts to distribute, they can account for
300 megawatts.
34%. Same reason that over the last 4 years, none of these power utilities, state utilities, have recorded profits. And when you are recording losses, you are creating for yourself a cash constraint situation. And in the power sector, what you need is liquidity to address the challenges and also to ensure that you introduce innovation into your system to deal with emerging challenges.
Right.
What GRECO is doing today is financed by other donor agencies and partners. It's not financed by us. But if we were to use our own money, trust me, there will not be a PESWA to deal with these problems. And so if one tells us that what we are going through today has nothing to do with finance, but it's purely a technical issue, how do you address technical issues? You will need cash flow to address them. If you say it has nothing to do with finance and everything is all right, you know what? In the distribution setup, where we have in excess of 30% losses, commercial losses in that distribution chain, it's about 70% of the distribution problems. So we can't account for what we sell as ECG and NETCO. And so you're creating a hole. And when you don't get the money, you are unable to fix the smaller problems. We have something we call preventive maintenance. That is to say that you have a car. Once in a while, you change your battery or you change your filter, the air filter, the oil filter. You ensure that you put in the right grade of fuel so as to guarantee continuous mobility of the vehicle. But if you don't undertake this little maintenance, at a point, you might be driving the best of cars with good horsepower, but the car will come to a halt. So it's not surprising that we saw this year, early in May or last month, a whole system shut down. The whole country had a blackout. Go to China. For 34 years now, there have never been a blackout of such a nature. 21st century, see where we are as a people. And so what GRECO is doing today is an upgrade, and what ECG does is reactive maintenance. It is not a proactive one, it's not a preventive maintenance.
Right.
And so you can mention Malam and Co and Pokwase, but right here in Tama, we have power outages. Go to the central region, there are power outages. And so
in Kumasi, yes, there is.
Today, of course, what we are saying today is that the challenges we are going through has a lot to do with finance and not just technical issues. So we don't lump it that way.
Right. So Nana, hold on there. Let me come back to the studio and let me get to Honorable. The simple thing we are looking out for is for ECG to be able to recoup monies from the public.
Yeah, so that is why, and Nana I think has made a greater part of the point.
Yes.
See, when the minister says that our problem is not financial, I don't understand. One, if you look at...
Kindly indulge me. On that point, let me just go for a quick break and come back on that point. I'll come back to ask you about the IPPs and the savings the ministry have made, and then we can come to the energy sector. So we'll pick a quick break. When we come back, Honorable was on a point, we'll pick it from there. You're welcome back from the break. So we are discussing issues in the power and energy sector. We have touched on whether the current problem, is an issue of technical or financial. Maintenance works are going on and developments are coming on as well. We hear of Kasra, we hear of Kwasi, and all the details of the programs that are coming up. But Honorable, you're on a point. I would allow you to land on that, and then I'll go on to ask you about the savings made with the IPPs.
So I'll just combine them.
Sure.
Quick ones. If you look at our current challenges, they say they are transmissional challenges and that they are technical, that they are handling them. Now, you need to ask yourself a question. The funding, and that's what Nana was talking about. The funding, one of the funding comes from what we call AFD. That's Agence Française de Développement, the French Development Agency. Now, ask yourself, this was a project that should have been sorted at somewhere around 2018, 2019. How come that we are doing it today? It is because of the fact that Gridco's financials became so terrible when they posted a loss of, in 2018, a loss of about 600 million Ghana cedis. On the strength of that, the French government, even the money is not a loan, it's a grant, but it was premised on a particular condition that the financials of Gridco needed to be good. Now, when they look at their financial, their current ratios, and not current ratio is just a measurement of how liquid your company is. It was bad. On the basis of that, the French agency,
development agency,
AFD, said that, look, we could not let you just guarantee this particular activity using your balance sheet because your balance sheet was bad. And therefore, we needed a sovereign guarantee that can only be passed by Parliament. That alone delayed us for 2 years. And that's why we are where we are today. So this was an activity that was supposed to be done 2 years ago. And it was because of their financial issues. That's why we are doing them today. 2, if you look at the Kwasi bulk supply point and the Malam they are talking about, you know they are all under the MIDA project.
The MCC.
The MCC. They are under the MIDA project. The first question you need to ask yourself, because of that quote-unquote procurement scandal that we went through in transiting PDS to what do you call it? ECG to PDS.
PDS and then from
it
PDS
delayed
back
the
to
project.
ECG,
Even though, you know, that portion, we just lost the $190 million. But that portion was given to us. But it delayed it. Because the government, the American government, first had to take a second look at as to how they were going to even engage us on the basis of the Compact 2 arrangement. So that was it. So when you say it is not financial, then I have a problem. 3, you see, the other reason is that you say ECG, because ECG must be able to account for the power they give them. That's how they can pay the people upstream. Let's take, for example, if you see ECG, on annual basis, they lose, and now listen to me very carefully, in terms of inability to collect debt, how do you call it? Revenue, that their power they have sold. Annual basis, $180 million. I am not the one saying it. It is, go back and look at the energy sector recovery program that has been authored by the ministry itself.
Yes, I have it here.
Yes,
I think
it is $180 million.
Yes.
Out of that, 80% is owned by ministries, departments, and agencies, government agencies. How come the government agencies are not paying those monies? It's because of suppressed...
But this is also generational.
What is a generation? No, what is a generation? What do you mean? What is
or legacy. This is something that has come over a period.
You are talking about the fact that you have been given power. You've used the power. Pay the money. Pay ECG. You know, under John Mahama, there was a caveat that had been put that all government agencies should make sure that they change from postpaid to prepaid. It was to ensure that budgets that have been made for payment of power are paid. So you have that. This one is not a financial issue.
Right.
Look at the technical issues, which Nana was talking about 34%. And in fact, this, you know, it used to be around 23%.
Yes.
The document you say you have seen, that's the energy sector
recovery program.
They pegged the loss at 23%. But of course, when the Minister for Energy met the World Bank Group, you know that you can't lie to them. He was forced to state the 34% losses. At 23%, annually we lose $400 million. ECG cannot account for $400 million just on 23. So can you imagine that it is 34%? How much you are losing? So when the minister comes back to tell us that, look, this thing is not a financial problem, but it is a technical problem, I don't understand what he means by it. I don't know what I'm making sense.
You are,
yes.
Obviously.
So the facts on the ground, and even his own ministry, and that's why I think that, you see, sometimes I don't know who, and that's what brings you to the savings he says he has
Yes,
made.
you can touch on that briefly. I want to move to the energy sector
so I just wanted
because
to
of
do
time.
that. You see, the minister today, if you go on my wall, I have dared Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh publish the 40 PPAs that you say you have cancelled.
41, actually.
41. Publish the 41 PPAs.
He has mentioned 3 of them.
Which ones?
The ones which have saved the
1.4 million. He said he deferred them. They were deferred. And who said they were
and
not
they
going
have
to be
been
there?
arranged from take or pay to take and pay.
You see, that is the point. I have challenged him on 2 things. And this is about the 3rd platform I'm doing that.
Yes.
I've done it on your sister stations for almost 2 years now. Even during the elections, when Amin Anta...
you are saying it is
They
not true.
don't have it. You know why? They don't. It's not true. Let me tell you something.
That they have moved from take or pay to take and pay.
It's not true. I am telling you this on record. It's not true. And I'll say something. Just at the budget readings, you see the budget readings, when the Minister of Energy came to us, we particularly asked them, and the minister himself was seated there. We said, you haven't going around saying that you have renegotiated, what do you call it, take or pay agreements. Tell us, which ones have you signed off? Because if you've never renegotiated from take or pay to take and pay, you sign off. Now the director for power at the Ministry of Energy, Solomon Ajete, who was seated there, said that they formed a technical committee. And the technical committee, they did some negotiation, they did that. But when they finished, they had to give it to Minister of Finance. So Minister of Finance has started all over again. And I'm telling you, this was just about 2 weeks ago.
Duncan has already attacked the Minister of Finance.
The Minister of Finance
for not being able to manage energy issues
if the Minister of Energy,
yes.
And if the Minister of Energy, as we speak today, is talking about that when they themselves do not even have the answers when they came for their budget approval, it clearly tells you that somebody is misleading him. That is the point I'm just trying to make. And
that the Minister of Energy is lying.
In fact, that's what I have said on my post. I've said on my post that it's a lie. And so and I've given, that's it. This is your program. If you record it and go and give it to him. And tell him, because you see, you know why? There are people must be very careful about saying when they keep PPEs.
Right.
Quick one. A PPA, you can have ECG and other things. They can initially they can be talking to you that, we want to sign a PPA with you. They're still doing negotiations. At the time PPA becomes executable, it's when it comes to the ministry. The ministry takes it to cabinet. Cabinet takes it to parliament. And the reason why they take it to parliament because there are security clauses that can only be approved by parliament. It is only then that you have a PPA. So if the minister is told, is minded, he should go and look the processes under which a PPA is executable. So you don't just get up and say that there are 41 PPAs that you have cancelled. Name them.
Duncan, let me come to you. Unfortunately, because of time, ministers should name them. And of course, I'm sure people from the Ministry of Energy or representatives of the Minister for Energy, Honorable Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, are watching. And so we may want to find out if we can get a response on this one. We are told that either the minister is being misled or he's not telling us the truth, and that he should name the 41 or any of the 41 companies which agreement or whose agreement have been moved from take or pay to take and pay should be named. Let me come to you. Let's get straight into energy. Unfortunately, our time. Some few weeks ago or days ago, everybody in the country was running helter-skelter about the fuel increment and the taxes that had been put on by the NPA, by BOSS, the margins and all that, and then we had the minister reducing part of the margin. You are telling us tomorrow we should expect something?
Well, Kwasi, you cannot run away from the obvious. And I have said that petroleum pricing is one of the things you cannot wish away. You've set a pricing parameter that says that when world market prices go up, Ghanaian pump prices will go up. When government decides to increase taxes, your pump prices will go up.
That's a deregulation.
I do not even think we are actually practicing a deregulated market.
We are not?
No, we're not. Because on one hand, we say that...
So, is it just on paper? Because what we know is that Ghana is practicing a deregulated market.
You see, we say that just to convenience, ourselves, trust me. The only part deregulation is really working is within the margins of the operators. We had lived under that illusion that there's a deregulated market and that government has no hand, okay, in fuel pricing. So when prices go up, don't
we shouldn't complain.
Don't
We
blame
shouldn't make noise.
Then you continuously have very lazy finance ministers, and I don't owe them love, forgive me.
Yes.
Simply because of the kind of stress.
No, you are an advocate of the citizens.
They're
so
taking all of us through. So you have very lazy finance ministers who only come and pluck more taxes from petrol. In the past, whenever you increase fuel prices and people were complaining, they would say, oh, it's the market, right? Just a few days ago, within 10 days, finance minister has gone to parliament to ask that they should put onto petroleum pricing another 30 pesos, 10 for sanitation pollution, 20 for energy sector
But this
recovery.
was in the budget which was read at the beginning of the year.
Exactly. So if you are really deregulated and government has no hand in fuel pricing, why are we still adding taxes? Do you get it? Then you have a situation where NPE also comes to say, I'm adding margins.
My margin.
So the same pricing that the trotro driver is complaining, the average Ghanaian is complaining, right? The system comes to increase it. Then you have a situation where world market price, okay, is also waiting for all of us. I mean, calmly, like an old man under an oak tree. He's just waiting. Price surge on the international market currently, you cannot run away from it because you have not fixed your refinery, okay, which could have localized your dynamics for you. If Ghana was producing crude, which is about the sweetest, and we decided that our share of crude oil, right, should be given to GNPC or government of Ghana and be refined locally so that the monies that we would have used to go import from Rotterdam or Europe, right, and bring back to Ghana, we could have saved those logistical costs every year. As we speak, I have mentioned it severally, and I have a lot of evidence. Your oil refinery cannot even pay for water bill, and for which Ghana Water has had to disconnect. Yes, I'm talking of TOR.
Cannot pay for water.
And I'm putting this on record. Yes, water has been disconnected to TOR. That is how bad.
Since when?
Every year, if you open this line, right?
Yes.
If you open this line,
yes,
a lot of the workers there, as we speak now, are waiting for when they will go to work and be told the refinery has shut down, so go home.
TOR cannot pay for.
It is that bad.
Water bill.
Yes. It is extremely.
Their Senate and Provident Fund
are in
arrears of 48 months.
You see, every year there are things when you talk about.
If we pick cameras today or tomorrow morning and go to
every year,
we'll find that water is not flowing.
Do this tomorrow.
No, you are the executive director.
Do this tomorrow morning,
so yes,
and of course, I'll give you enough documentation. I'll give you too many things. TOR is in dire straits. The workers, as we speak, right? Even the retired staff, those who should probably be coming for their no coffee to go home, they can't get their monies. And the workers, as we speak, a lot of them are waiting for when they will go and they will be told, oh, the refinery, we've closed shops, so we'll go home. As we speak.
Minister went there some few weeks ago and promised that TOR is going to be revived.
Okay, so those are some of the things we are looking up to him to fix. And we'll be very happy if he makes a conscious effort to turn around.
And the minister didn't see that the taps were not flowing.
To turn around the Afriyie, tomorrow, get your news team, right? To go in there. I am putting on record
that taps are not flowing at all.
That Ghana Water Company has disconnected TOR. And then I come to Boston.
Right.
Just a year ago, at the height of COVID, we sat on some of your platforms and educated Ghanaians the need to stock up Boston. Because you have a situation where you have so much ullage, a lot of tank space, right?
Yes.
So when world market prices declined from the 600 region to 170 a year ago, I'm putting on record, we could have taken advantage or the opportunity to stock up. So that when prices begin to surge or go up as we have it today, 655 for petrol. Imagine the difference. Just a year ago, we were at $170 a metric. As of today, we are doing about 655, almost getting to $660 a metric. Look at the difference. Yet, boss tanks are empty. No strategic stock. And so you cannot cushion the Ghanaian whenever international market price shocks.
But the CEO is, you sit with meetings, with him in meetings, you could proffer some of these.
These are not things they do not know. I am putting on record. These are things that they know. But
so for what reason are they not happening?
We'll be happy.
It's not happening.
Particularly, I'll be happy if some of the programs, I mean, we get them on there. Because sometimes we would come and say,
I am hoping that we can reconvene and then I'll get them.
We need to reconvene.
I'll get them here. By what percentage is the fuel going up tomorrow?
My checks with some of the OMCs as of this morning indicate that BDC prices have already gone up. Some went up as late as Friday, right? Some have gone up by almost 12 pesos. That is the difference we are looking at.
You've seen that already. Unfortunately, our time is up, but let me ask.
So between tomorrow, I'm sure,
12 pesos increment.
Some have gone up as much as 12 pesos at the BDC position.
Yes, in fact, you are rounding up with that.
Yeah, so look, let me tell you something. You see, the BDC is one that he's talking about. That will be the same as the ex-refinery that you are dealing with.
Right.
You see, those ones are factors that are beyond us. The factors for us, our taxes. Even the margins that you spoke about, the statutory margins,
too much.
We can look at those ones. So I know your time is not
Minister actually looked at it, so it means we can look at it. But unfortunately, I'm told Nana is still on the line. Nana, kindly forgive us. I thought you were gone, but if you are there, kindly give us your final words, especially on the fuel. Have you seen, or you have been projecting all the time also, is the fuel prices going up? We are told by 12 pesos.
I am sorry to give you this very bad information. Yes, fuel price will go up.
By how much?
Because the very mechanism, the internal mechanism built to take care of the price and supply shocks have all broken down. TOR has broken down, BOSS has broken down. And so we'll keep on seeing fuel price going up because the cedi also keep on depreciating. And so by close of 2024, we're prepared to buy a liter of fuel for more than 40, a gallon of fuel for more than 40 cities.
Wow. Internal mechanisms are broken down. Thank you, Nana, but kindly forgive me because I thought you were gone. You were still on the line. Thank you very much for staying. 30 seconds.
As a journalist,
30 seconds.
Ask government how they are applying the price stabilization recovery levy. They tell us that they are using it to cushion premix and then RFO. Let them give us an account of how that money is used.
Right. Honorable is a member of parliament and, of course, a member of the Mines and Energy Committee, subcommittee in parliament, Honorable Edward BAWA. DUNCAN AMOAH is the executive director of COPEC, and Nana Mwisi VII is the executive director of IES. He joined us via Zoom. My name is Kwasi Afriyie. Unfortunately, our time is up, but there is more to look at. I'm sure we'll come back in the course of next week or in the course of the month. My name is Kwasi Afriyie. Thank you very much for staying with us tonight, and thank you for watching. Good evening.